We'll have revenge. The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural. Now you will experience the full power of the dark side.
Welcome, followers to the Dark Side of the Light. I'm your host, John, the real JP3. And I'm joined as always by my good friend and fellow co-host, who is a master of the dark side, expert on the occult, and obtainer of rare antiquities and homegrows. Please welcome Dark Lord of the Sith, David.
Sorry, guys, I couldn't help. John was doing his intro. I gave him the cue. I'm like, hey, let's hit it. He was mid water drink and like almost went everywhere to make sure that intro was solid for you. The listeners, the grits, the chiss, the Rhodians. Yeah. Hey, how's it going? Balance of the Force podcast, episode 133. Here with Johnny, who is a bright, shining embodiment of the light.
I tried. My new, much larger...
Yeah, you know, you're rocking a banner back there. Looks all kind of cute and whatnot. Yeah, talking Star Wars on this Monday episode. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of kick it off. Well, a lot of Project Luminous stuff finally popping up. Some Star Wars Underworld. The Child for $350. Thrwans got some blue pages. Poe Dameron prequel story thing. And John's giving me a weird little hand pause. I don't know what's going on. But that's what we're talking about. And unfortunately, we're going to kick it off with a little bit of a somber note, which I'll kick it to Johnny and he can get that going.
So, Friday evening, January 31st, there was an announcement that Alan Harris, who played Bosk, the bounty hunter, passed away. I believe it was 81 years old. And sad loss to the Star Wars community. I feel like in the time that I've been like involved in Star Wars and like the love that I have for Star Wars, we've lost so many people, like so many actors, actresses, people that have been close to Star Wars. Granted, it came out in 1977. You had a lot of adults that were obviously characters in that film, and so they get older and everybody ages and everybody passes on. It happens. But yeah, so sad news to kick off our podcast today. But Alan Harris has passed on. May he rest in peace. Thank you for your contributions to the Star Wars community, and
long live Bosk.
And may the Force be with him and his family. He may be a Force ghost.
He's the first transition Force ghost. I dig it. Yeah, what can you say? Bosk, hell of a character. Love it. He was in the suit, brought the character to life. Wish we could have seen more Bosk in live action with Harris behind the lizard man mask, but maybe we'll get something in the future. Them trying to honor his memory and continue Bosk's story in live action to some effect.
Did he ever attend any of the celebrations we went to? 15, 17?
None
19?
that we went to. Not that I'm aware of. No, sir.
Okay. Once we posted it, and there was a couple of other pages that we follow that I went ahead and threw it up on those pages just so people were aware. And a lot of people were like, oh, I got him at this Comic-Con or this convention and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't read like all the comments. I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool. But I was like, I don't remember him ever going to a celebration.
No, I don't believe any of the celebrations we've attended. Probably one somewhere down the road, but not one of the ones we attended. But celebration around the corner. Everyone knows they can go get their avocado BB-8 shirts and pins and patches. And I was a little disheartened recently.
Were you disheartened?
One thing that I was really looking forward to was the new Thrawn trilogy, the prequel trilogy, if you will. The Chaos Rising book that was supposed to come out, May 4th?
Yes.
It's supposed to come out May 4th, kind of right around the corner. I was getting all jazzed up, getting all excited about it. And the other day, Timothy Zahn, as well as Del Rey Books, published that book was getting pushed back. Very saddened about that. They said, hey, don't worry, we're still working on book 2. Book 2 is already kind of in the works. They didn't really disclose why this one was getting pushed back, but something fun and cool that they were doing is altering the pages from being a normal white color to Thrawn blue, which I kind of thought that was pretty cool. What do you think, John?
Yeah, so you sent me the announcement and I looked at it, and then they started posting it pretty heavily on all their pages. Pushing it back from May all the way to October was a pretty significant time push, and all they said was there was scheduling adjustments, like not really anything else, nothing like came out of it. And this is they also did the same thing with The Rise of Skywalker. They pushed it 2 weeks. And they said basically for the same thing, it was scheduling adjustments. So I don't know what's going on. Dave and I had a little bit of off-the-air text conversation about it. Makes it seem like they're prepping, or they're trying to get other things in the works taken care of beforehand, get things printed, ready to go. And so we don't know why, but it's been pushed. And they said, look, guys, there's nothing wrong with the book. There's no issues. There's no hiccups. Book 2 is already being written. You're safe. You're good to go. But this is something we've always wanted to do. So we're giving you guys the blue pages. And I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
And it's not going to be a convention exclusive. They make it seem like this is going to be the basic edition of the book.
It will be It is actually available for pre-order now, where you can get it with those pages. Obviously, you don't get it to October 6th, but it is available with those pages.
See, I thought it was going to get pushed back and become a Celebration exclusive.
So,
because all the other Thrawn books have been Celebration exclusives.
Yeah, and I was going through, as I was moving and unpacking, I was going through and I was like, why do I have 2 of these Thrawn books?
Which ones do you have 2 of?
Well, now you're going to make me look.
I was going to say, which
Treason. I have 2 Treasons.
Do you have 2 Treasons?
I have 2 Treasons, but I don't have 2 Alliances or 2 regular Thrawns. And then I was like, maybe one of these is Dave's.
Let me look casually.
So I don't think this is... No, because they're 2 different covers. There's 2 different jackets.
No, yeah, I've got my convention exclusives as well as my regular. Because I'm OCD and I had to buy 1 of each.
So did we get the convention exclusives were they a Celebration? They weren't all Celebration exclusives,
The one that wasn't a Celebration exclusive was the second one, I believe, the Alliances. That one was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, because I remember I bought that one off of eBay.
That's right.
No, the other one, no, they were both San Diego Comic-Con exclusives.
I was going to say, I don't have the exclusives of the other 2, and if they were Celebration exclusives, I would have been in line getting them.
No, because we got the first Thrawn at Celebration, because remember, that's how we got the pin.
Oh, that's right, and we didn't buy the regular ones. We bought the regular ones of the other 2.
Exactly. So the other 2 were San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. That's correct. Not Celebration. Sorry. But I figured the Thrawn Chaos, or was it Rising Chaos?
Thrawn Ascendancy, Chaos Rising.
Chaos Rising. Okay, I was getting a little dyslexic there. It still means the same thing. I thought that was going to be pushed and become a Celebration exclusive for 2020. Even more so, I was thinking, okay, maybe after Resistance ended, the next full-fledged animated series would be the potentially rumored Rebels sequel that would mention Thrawn. So I thought that's maybe why they were pushing it back. Because they didn't want to start giving us this story before we know that Thrawn's still out there breathing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so that's a great point, because and people are like sold on this Rebel follow
Well,
up.
they're saying it's going to happen this year. We're going to get
Yeah,
another animated feature this year.
it's happening this year. We don't have a whole lot of details. They said it's been in the works. It's already ready to go and everything else, but we haven't heard anything official from Lucasfilm or Disney on it. Dave Filoni, the master of animation, has not said anything on it, but they're speculating that it's going to happen this year. So, if you're going to come out with a series and a book later this year, you're going to have to give us a series pretty quickly. Not like super soon, but if you're going to have like, let's say 10, 15 episodes in it, you're going to have to give us time to get that. Because then once you start getting into October, then you're starting to get into the Mandalorian territory with that coming back out. Because Jon Favreau was confirmed it'll be fall. And so everybody's speculating it'll be the October timeframe, just like the last one was.
And if memory serves correct, every time that we've gotten a season of Rebels, it's always been in the fall. Same thing with Resistance. You know what I mean? It's always been a fall show.
And they've always made it longer, so it carries over.
Into
like
the new year,
Resistance, they do the mid-season finale, and then it carries over into January. I was like, I didn't watch Rebels live, but I did watch Rebels live, and they did the same thing. Where we got a mid-season finale, and then we got to skip ahead. Yeah, you're very right. Very right.
So
very
who's
true.
to say that, come May 4th, they don't announce, hey, Rebels Part 2, Vigilante Force Users from Justice is coming out or something crazy. I just came up with that off the top of my head. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, clearly.
But let's say that is coming out in October, fall, whatever. Because considering Resistance was airing around the same time Mandalorian was, just nobody was paying attention to Resistance. Because everybody's hearts and minds were with the Mandalorian and the child.
Yeah, true. And I still haven't heard, like, legit.
I think it ended.
Heard nothing. It did.
I think it did end.
Yeah. But legit, no one has said anything about Resistance. It like fell off the face of the earth. Like, I feel kind of bad for those people.
No, and kudos to the animation team. There was a lot of beautiful sequences and parts of that show. It just didn't grasp me from a storytelling perspective, which maybe I just wasn't in the right mood. What about you, John?
No, I still haven't picked it up. We watched episode 1, and I think I watched half of episode 2. We watched episode 1 because it was at Star Wars Celebration in Chicago,
and we were in the panel.
It's the only reason we watched episode 1. Other than that, we wouldn't have watched.
Okay, you know what? Right here and now, let's make a pact to see it by February, mid-February, the 20th.
You make a pact to see it by mid-February.
Come on, you and me, the balance of the Force. Let's push through. Let's see it February 20. Let's see it before Clone Wars comes out.
That's 21st.
Yeah, let's see it before Clone Wars comes out. Just so we can't say we didn't finish that before we started the new course.
I'll think about it.
All right, let's do the 15th. February 15th. So we got 14 days. There's like 10 episodes. Come on. We got this.
No, there's not.
There's not that many episodes. How many episodes are there?
It's like 20.
You don't even know. Because we didn't follow it.
It's like 20.
I don't think it's like 20. Either way, guys, we got to get to it. We got to watch it. We got to talk about it. At least have that bit of story bookended so we know what the hell happens. In other news, okay, John's got the answer. What's the answer? Is it
18 episodes.
It's not 20. It's 18.
It's 2 less.
It's 2. All right, we got this. 2 episodes a night every other day. We got this.
I'll just read you the synopsis, guys. Here it is.
No, don't do it. In other Star Wars news, we got...
Wait, hold on. Stop.
What are you telling me? Stop.
I have a question for you.
All right, shoot. Jeez. What do you got? It's not very Jedi.
Do you think by any chance that they will release a Celebration Edition copy of Chaos Rising early? Like, do you think they would release it at Star Wars Celebration, which is only a month before its actual release?
I don't think they'll do a whole month because the spoilers. Everybody's going to be no. They can't do a whole month. They could do maybe a day, a week at most, but a whole month, nah. Not happening, Johnny. I love it, but not happening. Can we move on to the next story before you?
Yeah, fine. Go ahead.
So I'm yelling and shaking your Jedi hand, trying to freaking mind trick me. That's very Sith over there. Okay, no Jedi Force jokes. Not even Rey. She does lightning though, and
I'm showing the dark side.
Potentially kills Chewie. Star Wars comic number 2 released a hell of a bombshell that confused John out of his mind while he was midday working, giving me half of his attention. Probably not even half. I'd probably say like 10% of his attention.
Yeah, 10%.
10% of his attention. So in that comic, we get a different view and perspective of the Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker interaction that ultimately resulted in Luke's hand and Anakin's lightsaber departing from the rest of Luke's body, tumbling down the rabbit hole or whatever the hell you want to call it on the Bespin.
It's pretty cool. Like the photo of his hand just like
after you realized it, like, oh my god, we're gonna get to what you said later, but so in that it shows the hand of Luke falling and the lightsaber, and the crazy thing is there is what appears to be a Jedi-like hooded figure reaching out and catching Luke's lightsaber midair, catching it somewhere below the actual live action encounter between Vader and Luke.
And the little
caption bubble.
The caption bubble. I was gonna say conversation bubble. Says follow your destiny.
What do you think it means? Who do you think it is?
I'm kind of curious. I want to know why you think it's a Jedi.
It's the classic brown robes. You never see a Sith wearing the brown robes. That or it's a Tatooine farmer. It's Uncle Owen back from the grave. Who do you think it is? Why do you not think it's a Jedi? You gotta have some kind of ability to catch something falling in midair like that. You know that darn thing's coming with some speed. It's coming in hot. I don't think I could catch a lightsaber falling like that.
Let's try it.
I'll try it later.
I can see how it's a Jedi. That wasn't my first impression when I saw it. I also like at the bottom how it says "to be continued." It's like, really, seriously. I'm trying to think. So at this point, the Jedi have been all but extinguished. Yoda's on Dagobah. It was teaching Luke.
I feel
like I'm lost in thought because I'm like, man, are you opening up a can of worms if it is a Jedi to a much larger story that we never thought could be possible? That's why I'm lost in thought with it.
So the only other Jedi that we know that are technically alive at this point in time, Ahsoka Tano and potentially Cal Kestis from the video game Jedi Fallen Order, and Ezra Bridger. Those are the only ones that I can think of right now that we know that are potentially alive. This figure is not Ahsoka, not the right species. Ezra, we don't know where he's at. Could it be Ezra? I don't know, maybe. But it also kind of throws me off that the hand in which is holding it is wearing a black glove.
Yeah.
And it makes me think, don't tell me this is some kind of weird time travel, world between worlds thing, and this is actually Luke catching his lightsaber with his new robotic hand after he got it repaired to save the Skywalker legacy and hand down the saber to Rey later on down the line. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
But
that's very far-fetched, but I don't want it to be
It is far-fetched, but then it ends up with Maz Kanata.
Yeah, who's to say that Luke didn't give it to Maz? At some point in time, be like, hey, hang on to this. You'll know when you need it. Very vague Jedi thing to say.
How do you... Okay, now think about this. Now, honestly, how do you think Maz came by the light?
I have no idea.
Lightsaber.
I have no idea. And I wanted to be a big, awesome reveal, something cool, something... I don't even know. I don't know how I want it to play out in my mind. I just know I don't want it to be world between worlds. Luke goes and catches his own lightsaber after his dad chopped his hand off.
Yeah, so to me at this point, that's a pretty big... At this point, you're opening up a can of worms in a comic book that you're going to have to tell the rest of the story, or you're somehow going to have to tie it all the way back to where it gets to Maz.
Mm-hmm. And I think they're prepared to do that. It's just, are we prepared to enjoy that story?
Exactly, and I just don't know. I think it would have to be in the literature form or the comic form. Same thing.
It seems like we're going down that road right now.
I don't think that you could... I don't think there's something that you could come back with, like a TV series or something like that would eventually lead us to get to that point. Because I'm trying to think, and I don't read the comics, and you know this, but is there anything in the comic books that it's like a story is started in the comics and then it's like trailed into eventually like a live action type thing?
Not live action, considering the only thing we have live action have been the films and the Mandalorian TV show.
Any animation?
Not really.
I know that we've seen things, and I know that we've seen things like... So I go back to the whole comic book, or the series, or the story where they were talking about the midichlorians and how Palpatine maybe manipulated the midichlorians in that comic, and that's how he created Anakin. And that comic was derived in telling a further story of something that was in live action.
Yeah, so
movie.
Yeah, I think you can go live action backward into book and comic instead of book and comic into live action, because
the level of detail you have to provide, I don't think is available in the cinematic or the animation or live action type.
No, I think you can get level of detail in any form of media you want. Just how much time do you want to spend on it?
That's true.
The one thing I think is you can't bring something from a comic or a book into live action with that live action person having to go and figure out, oh, I got to read this issue 37 of whatever, because people that watch movies in live action, yes, they're fans, but they're not the hardcore fans. You drop a nugget in live action for them to go pick up the breadcrumbs in a book, not the other way around. You know what I mean? Because half the time you're going to lose your audience if you bring up, like, hell, if they would have brought in the Mortis dagger, like we all thought they were going to, how many people in the damn audience would have been like, what is this? They're fighting on the Mortis planet? What's the Mortis planet? Who's the father? No one would know what the hell was going on other than people that watch the Clone Wars and Rebels. It's harder to bridge that gap between, the cartoons, the books, the comics, and then go live action. It's easier to drop the nugget in live action and expand upon it in the other forms of media, I think.
No, I agree with you. And that's why I'm thinking, like, because of the fact that this is a question that many people have asked, and not a lot of people, not everybody reads the comics, or not everybody reads the books, and not everybody watches the animated series. It seems more feasible that something like the whole Luke thing with the world between worlds may be more plausible, just because it's a quick way to tell a story. I don't think it's the right way to tell it. Um, but I just don't think that it can't be some massive reveal on how Maz gets the lightsaber because of the fact that most people probably won't go and read it.
But why not, though? It's only massive to the people that want to know about it. How many stories are massive that didn't get the big theatrical debut? Freaking the Darth Plagueis story, the Darth Bane story, the Thrawn trilogy that we're currently. I think those are big important keys. Master and Apprentice that you loved.
Yeah, so those are big important keys, but then I think about it. So then and I'm just being the devil's advocate.
Course,
if I would not have read those books, I would have been like, okay, it doesn't take away from Star Wars for me. Because at one point, this, I didn't read those books, and now granted, I read those books, and then I saw Clone Wars, and then I saw Rebels, and I saw Clone Wars, and then I've seen The Mandalorian now. And I've read Aftermath, which it's hard to get through. I started the Darth Bane series, which is not canon; it's Legends. Darth Plagueis is Legends, but if I wouldn't have read those books, it wouldn't have. Like in my opinion, Aftermath gave me some information, but in reality, if I wouldn't have read Aftermath, I would have been perfectly okay.
No, exactly. But perfect example of this: reading Darth Plagueis, when it was still canon, gave so much more depth to the prequel trilogy.
It did.
Without reading it, the prequel trilogy is the prequel trilogy. But you learn that, oh shit, Darth Plagueis was alive during the time of the prequels? He was still mentoring Palpatine?
And
Palpatine killed him?
Yeah.
Exactly. It adds so much more that the casual fan might not care to know. So if we find out that there's this huge, crazy event with Luke Skywalker's lightsaber that leads to Maz Kanata giving it to Rey, it's great for the hardcore fan that wants to get into it. But the casual cat that's just putting it on as background noises while he cleans his fish tank doesn't care. What? No?
You know, a fish tank? Did you get a fish tank?
No, I didn't get a fish. But that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, Darth Plagueis was a huge integral part of the prequels that only the hardcore fans that read the book know about.
Well, yes, but I'm just saying,
it's the same thing.
It changed my perspective slightly, but in the same respect, it's like I didn't read Darth Plagueis and I saw the prequel several times, and it wasn't like I read it and I was like, and I remember because I was like, holy crap, like Plagueis is the one that's doing all this and blah blah blah, on and on and on. And I've talked to people who have not read the book but have seen the movies, and I tell them, and they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's like
it's the same thing, and a lot of people don't care where Maz Kanata got the lightsaber from, except for the hardcore Force junkies that want it all.
I can tell you that I probably...
Because Palpatine saying, have you ever heard the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, is the same thing as Maz Kanata pulling that saber out of the box. It's another thread.
It is another thread. Am I going to buy the comic to find out that thread? No.
No, you're just going to ask me.
Did you buy the comic?
No, because there's no comic out for that.
Well, how'd you read it?
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about the Darth Plagueis thing.
No, the Star Wars #2.
I will buy it when it's in trade paperback form. I don't like buying single issues. It doesn't go with the rest of my collection. I can't even hear you.
Snooty. I was mocking you.
Oh, okay. I can't hear you.
So yeah, I was out January 29th, and so it's a story that I'm like, right now, I'm like, I don't really care how Maz got the lightsaber. It really doesn't bother me. How she got it. It's cool. It's whatever. I asked the question when I saw The Force Awakens, but that's all right. Now, when Dave buys the comic and he tells me about it, I'm be like, no way. Exactly. And then he's gonna be like, it's the world between worlds, and then I'm gonna have to hear him rant forever about the fact that
I don't want it to be the world between worlds. Please no. Please no. But yeah, anyways, that's Star Wars issue number 2. Looks like it's going to be an exciting series with a lot of other things going on in the background. We'll see what happens, what comes of it. Sorry for that long extended rant and random jostling back and forth between the light and the dark. But we're on to our next story. Which one do you want to hit first?
I don't know, because you've completely gone out of order from
Yeah,
what
we
talked
have.
about.
But you know what? It's a good time. Screw it. Let's just go with Poe Dameron.
All right, so Star Wars
Poe
Dameron Freefall is out August 4th. It is a young adult novel written by Alex Segura, who is, he's written the Peter Fernandez mystery novels. Have you read those, Dave?
I have not. But this is this author's first debut with a Star Wars property. So, exciting.
Yeah, and so we found out in The Rise of Skywalker that Poe Dameron was not always the Resistance pilot that we thought he was. He did have a past. He was the spice runner on the planet of Kijimi.
And he's not moving parsley, any kind of spices like that. He's moving spice.
Spice.
No, that's what they call drugs in the Star Wars universe, spice.
Yes, I know.
If you didn't know that.
Oh, speaking of that, so funny. So
death sticks are cigarettes, by the way.
Yes, I know. So sidebar, exactly on the death sticks conversation. I was in a meeting at work, and one of the areas I support is tobacco. And we were sitting down in a meeting. We were talking about pricing and everything else, and one of the guys is like, well, if we close the store or whatever, we're just going to put up half off death sticks. And I was like, nice reference. Thank you. And he was like, you're welcome. And I was like, I couldn't believe it, because like it was the funniest thing in the world, because I don't think anybody else in the room got it but me and him. But it was like the funniest thing in the world that he was like, yeah, we're just going to put up a sign that says half off death sticks.
And then you're going to buy some death sticks for you and your brother?
I'm going to buy some death sticks. Nelson calls them darts from Letterkenny.
I've never seen Letterkenny. I don't think I want to go down that road. But yeah, young adult novel with a Poe Dameron backstory. Headed our way.
August 4th. It is available for pre-order next month, which is technically February, which is what we're in. So just a real quick quote from the author. Poe is, of course, a hero, but that doesn't mean he woke up one day fully formed in terms of his beliefs and experiences. Poe's loyal, driven, extremely sharp, and stubborn, but the chance to tell the story of how he came to be that Poe and the shady, dangerous corners of the galaxy he had to walk through to get there was extremely appealing to me as a storyteller. So, I don't know. It's a young adult novel. I feel like it's got a picture every other page or something on it.
No, those are just the books you read.
So anyway, and he even describes it as somewhat of a galactic crime novel, which is very intriguing to me, because I don't.
Well, he normally writes crime novels, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does mystery novels,
like the Hardy Boys.
No, I just told you it was Peter Fernandez, but yes, like the Hardy Boys.
No, I'm just saying I love the Hardy Boys.
Don't you have the Hardy Boys?
I used to read them all the time when I was a child.
But didn't you buy the books?
No, that was Goosebumps.
Oh, when he was a child. He's turning 32 this month, guys. FYI.
Yeah,
he's old.
And you're 32 in 3 days, so lock it up.
No.
Exactly.
Anyway, so when we were first introduced to Poe Dameron, did in the back of your mind at all, were you curious about his backstory? Did you think he was a spice runner? Did you think he had a backstory? Or he was just a straight and narrow, I'm a resistance pilot, that's what I did, that's what I was born to do?
Honestly, I really didn't think twice about his backstory. The first thing that we get from him, he's respectful to Lor San Tekka, who we get to see in the Kylo Ren comic. He's got that little bit of a cocky attitude. Who talks first? You talk first. I talk first. Honestly, I thought he was an army brat.
I could see that.
You know what I mean? I thought of him as a very much a maverick cutout from Top Gun kind of thing. You know what I mean? Hey, he plays by his own rules. He pisses off his superiors. He's a He knows what he's doing. He's hurt a lot of people in his wake. He's kind of a ladies' man, but never really cared too much to get into his backstory. I always just thought he was, a Navy brat. In my mind, that's what I thought. What about you?
I thought he was very similar to, not to the extent of like the ladies' man, yes, the comical side of him, yes, but very much like Kaz. Like he came from money. He came from somebody who was in power. Like he was in a very high-ranking family in Coruscant or something like that. That's what I thought.
Okay,
and where he came from. I didn't think, I agree with you 100%. The ladies' man aspect, his ability to talk his way out of a situation, and just his ability to not live by his rules and no one else's. Sounds like somebody else I know. And, but yeah, that's kind of what I thought. But I never once was like, I want to know about Poe's background story. It wasn't a story that I thought I needed. Or that I thought we were going to get, and it was okay. That's cool.
Hell, I never thought we'd get a Cassian Andor series, but that thing might be the next best thing since sliced bread. I don't know.
The only reason you are hung up on the fact of another Cassian Andor series is one, because you love Diego Luna because he was in Narcos and several other things, and the fact that he refers to Jabba the Hutt as Yaba, and he just wants to touch Yaba, and you love the way he talks in his interviews. That's the only reason.
What's your point? I feel like we need to post a Yaba video tomorrow.
Yaba. I gotta find it again. That's
I'll send it to you. It's on my favorites.
Oh, dear Jesus.
I love it.
Yaba. In my contract, I want to touch Yaba. It just sounds so dirty.
He didn't say, well, who doesn't want to touch Yaba? But yeah, getting the Poe Dameron novel coming up. This might be your only chance, John, to get more Babu Frick.
You think so?
He's going to have to start somewhere. He knows Babu. He knows Zori. Maybe this is a chance for both of those characters to get flushed out a little bit more. In Poe's dark, spicy past.
Even though, I'm
it.
intrigued. I am intrigued by this book, and I'm intrigued by this story. Even though I say that it's a story I didn't think I needed, but I'm seriously considering picking up this book, because it's a young adult novel. I could probably read it pretty quick.
You mean listen to it on Audible pretty quick?
Probably. I finished a book from work that I had to read, actually.
Proud of you. Just for the Thrwans series and Darth Plagueis. That's been on your list for 2 years now.
It was only 24 hours long, though.
24 hours long? Jesus, that's like half the Star Wars library.
No. I think it was 6 hours. I can't remember. It was a very short book. You should read it. It's called Ego is the Enemy by Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, feel free to send it to me on Audible.
Anyway, so I may pick this up in my Audible and take a listen.
There you go.
Anyway.
Yeah. So, rapidly approaching. Obviously, we've got the Clone Wars Season 7 coming out. It's going to be awesome. But the other big thing that we have to look forward to, news-wise, is Project Luminous. News dropping on the 24th of this month. What do you feel, John? Are you excited? You ready for it? I know you don't read, but...
No, so I'm excited because I'm just curious about... that clown is super scary. I'm just more curious about the fact of, what the hell is going on, and what is it that you've kept us in the suspense for this long? That's all I'm curious about, is what is it? And I think it's... First of all, if you've kept us in suspense for this long, this better be some pretty awesome stuff that you're releasing on the 24th or telling us about on the 24th. And I'm going to put it out there. I think this is some of the reasons why there's a lot of stuff that's been pushed back. I think this is why the Rise of Skywalker stuff got pushed back. I think this is why the Thrawn Ascendancy book got pushed back. I think it all has to do with Project Luminous.
It might be true. Project Luminous, the way they've described it and all the promotional stuff is the Force is what gives a Jedi his power. It's an energy field created by all living things. ... Until ... Project Luminous. So, are we going to get a different style of Force user? Are we going to get all crazy and go into what Lucas originally wanted to tell for episodes 7, 8, and 9, a story about the wills that control the Force? Are we going to get a different timeline than we're already familiar with? Is this going to somehow set up the next series of movies that we don't even know are coming? What do you think, John? Familiar characters, new setting completely, what? What do you think? What do you think, huh? Because apparently all these different authors and comics, it's all going to be for one cohesive story. Where it starts, we don't know. Where it ends, we don't know. Obviously,
I don't
in the
know.
24th, we're going to get more, but...
As cool as I think it would be to give us a slew of brand new characters and start like basically from scratch, which in my opinion this project is heading up to be that type of project because it's been such a well-kept secret. It's been under wraps. It has so many people tied to it. It has it's just been so quiet. How awesome would it be to give us a brand new story, brand new characters, and set us up for the future and really to be honest with you, it would make sense. Even though, you give me a chance to finish.
You just look like it would make sense.
It makes sense. Even though, yes, we had the new trilogy, different generation from the original and the prequel trilogy. I get it. It's all still the Skywalker saga. What would be an amazing feat is if they could take under their wing and bring in a new set of fans, generations, young, old, across all generations, and come up with a completely different story with a completely different set of characters and propel that into the future. Like, taking hold of, the kids, the people that talk about seeing Star Wars in 1977 in the theater, kids being able to say, you know what? I saw Project Luminous in the theaters for the first time, blah, blah, blah. How awesome would that be? That is a huge undertaking. But I think there's so many people tied to it and so much work that's gone into it just based on all the secrecy that I'm going to take a guess that's probably what's going to happen. It's going to be a completely new set of characters and a new set of story somewhere within the timeline, but a new set of everything.
Okay, so do you think it's going to run parallel to the timeline that we currently know of, or before or after? If you had to say. What do you think?
I think it's going to be after.
Okay, so after Rey Skywalker buries the lightsabers in the sand?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wouldn't it be wild? And this is probably not even anywhere close to being true, but it's somehow connected to the Yoda species. Think of it. A new way of dealing with the Force. We know that just about every member of this species is highly Force sensitive. Yes, it says, okay, this is how the Jedi normally use it. Maybe this species, they're above that. Maybe they use the Force in a different manner that we just don't know. We haven't had it explored yet because we don't know enough about them. Just talking nonsense, trying to flesh out more story for the little green guys and gals out there.
It's very underwhelming, Dave.
Sorry, John. That's what
I just gave this gigantic understanding and in-depth story, and you say Yoda species.
What gigantic story did you provide? Nothing. You're just like, I think it's gonna be different. No characters.
I gave a lot of explanation. Yoda species, new Force. They're mixing their soda differently. They're putting nitrate soda in it instead of sodium soda.
Hey, it's a big difference. That's like something with gluten versus something without gluten, okay? That's a world of difference to the right people.
You leave gluten alone. Gluten did nothing to nobody besides make them fat.
I'm okay with gluten. Before, like 5 years ago, I never knew what the hell gluten-free was.
Nobody knew what gluten was 5 years ago.
Oh, gluten. How you've changed the world.
Shoot, like 30 days ago, no one knew what the heck the coronavirus was.
Yeah, and it's not provided by the Corona beer, ladies and gentlemen. If you favor Corona beer, still keep drinking it. Do your thing. I'm not a Corona man myself, but, do it. You're going to get the Budweiser virus?
Oh, my God.
The Miller Lite virus?
And it's called the beer gut.
The dose virus? Oh, man.
Anyway, more information coming soon for Project Luminous on 2/24/2020. Stay tuned. As soon as we find out more information, we will post it for you guys, and as well as our episode after that. We'll probably, let me see here. That's a Monday. So there's
talk about it on Thursday.
Yeah, we'll probably talk about it on Thursday. Gather our thoughts, get some other people's opinions, and then we'll talk about it. So, anyway.
We'll be illuminated by Luminous.
All right, guys. One of the last things on the docket for today is Star Wars Underworld. Star Wars Underworld was a live-action series that was created by George Lucas himself. That was canceled in 2010. His mission, his goal was that it was 400 episodes. He had 100 completed scripts written. It would have taken place between episodes 3 and 4 in the Coruscant underworld. And there was this test pilot, test footage that was released to the world this past week. And Dave saw it.
Yeah.
And what do you think, Dave?
It didn't look half bad. It felt a little cheesy here and there. The individual in the beginning, the young lady getting out of the cab thing, wearing some rocking boots, a little bit of a short skirt action going on. So from that perspective alone, I was like, this doesn't feel like Lucas would have had his hand in it, very Star Warsy. But then again, hell, he told Princess Leia that there was no underwear in space. So I don't know. Yeah, so she couldn't wear regular undies when she was in A New Hope. Just random tidbit for you. But yeah, it was great. It had the Wilhelm scream in there. I'm not crazy. It would have been interesting to see what they would have kept doing with it. I wonder how much that would have cost them to make what they did. And maybe that would have been the reason why they decided to not continue. Because at that time, I think Lucas said it would cost millions of dollars to make an individual episode. But lo and behold, how many millions of dollars did it take to make one Game of Thrones episode? So Lucas was ahead of his time, wanting to go ahead and get crazy and start pushing in that direction before anybody else really did that kind of big budget on the, I guess, small screen. Crazy to think he had 100 episodes already written and 400 total that he wanted to deliver. That's crazy. Very ambitious, which that's George Lucas, though. He's an ambitious kind of guy.
So you got to think about how many seasons would that have been?
I don't even know how many. You want to do 20 a season? 25? This show would have been going on until you turned 40.
Really?
Which is 3 years. But yeah.
It would have been 20 seasons if we did 20 episodes.
Dang. That'd have been wild.
Damn. Now I'm just thinking what if they decide to green light? No, they won't do that. They won't do 400 episodes. But
no, but it's just crazy.
I could understand doing the 100 episodes, which would be 5 seasons. That's not bad. If you did 30-minute episodes, 20 episodes per season, that's not horrible. Something that's very plausible to do. So, when I read that, I was like, what the hell? 400 episodes and 100 completed scripts I was just like,
I can't
that's
even imagine
crazy.
that. I can't even imagine that. Hopefully they data mine that stuff and they pull good tidbits they like here and there, and maybe we'll see some aspect of those stories get recycled and reused in the current canon. But my question is, why did this see the light of day now?
Why has anything been seeing the light of day recently?
I knew you were gonna go there. I knew you were gonna
Colin Trevorrow's script, the Duel of Fates, all the Duel of Fates stuff. Why is any of this coming out now?
I just find it very odd that it's been 9 years since that test footage would have been shot. Why is it just coming out now? Is there 5 episodes that got completed and you know what they said, you know what, let's touch it up and let's release it? I don't think that's going to happen. But what was the cause for them to release that test footage 9 years after it was shot? That's crazy to me. Or 9 years after they said it was canceled, that they were not going to go forward with it anymore. Why? Who's rummaging through that Lucasfilm closet and just finding random crap and be like, hey, post this. Look what I got.
It's like you don't have enough information already going on. Like there was one week that like they had plenty of Star Wars news that was like relevant, good news, and then all of a sudden it's like Colin Trevorrow's script is not released and this is released. And I'm like, what? Like, why are y'all trying to get traction? You still got Rise of Skywalker, and then now that like Rise of Skywalker's hit $1 billion, I haven't heard jack crap about it. Nothing.
Yeah. They hit the mark that they needed. But yeah, it's just very weird to me that this is all of a sudden out there buzzing around. Like, who found it? Who released it? I haven't heard Lucasfilm make an official stance or comment on it. Have you?
No, but several media outlets have reported on this. It's not just one, and it's not the one that we don't trust either. Otherwise, we wouldn't be talking about it.
No.
But several other outlets have been reporting on this, so it's not just one that's saying it or getting the footage. So I haven't heard or seen of anything else. It's well, that wouldn't make sense for the Collins script. Technically, I guess George would still have some of the stuff that he could do, and he could release it if he wanted to. But the Collins stuff, like, he wouldn't have access to that.
No, but then also you have to think, when he sold the company, I'm sure that was on a flash drive or on film or something within the Lucasfilm headquarters that he sold the building to from. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got his own private stash, but at the same time, you'd figure that Disney has a pretty solid lock on everything, all the parts of the property that were either in development and failed, that were still getting pushed forward and decided to pause. I'm just trying to really figure out how it got out. Or was it just like, hey, you know what, this is something cool that we never got to flush out. Let's show the fans what we were up to. And maybe that's somehow going to interweave and connect to something that they're doing currently.
It was on a floppy disk.
Remember when a floppy disk could take down the world? This was like in the 80s that all the...
Freaking floppy disk. I remember my mom would like go to Sam's and buy like 100 floppy disks for us.
Oh man, that was awesome.
Because we used them
so
much.
Putting the school reports on a floppy disk? This is just aging the crap out of us right now, but it was awesome.
You had to turn in the floppy disk and the name. Like, you guys are worried, like, saving. Oh my God, I have to delete my name that I saved it incorrectly on my jump drive. People, we had to save it on the freaking floppy disk and write the name correctly. Otherwise, we got points off. Like, give me a break.
What was the storage capacity on those things? I don't even remember.
It was 3.5 inch. It was like it was in.
It was like 312 megabytes or something crazy.
Yeah, it was like megabytes.
It was megabytes. It was megabytes.
We're talking gigs nowadays, guys. And we had megabytes. Like, my parents had a point where there were no bytes, 0.
They were pre-byte.
There were 0 bytes. And
Pre-bytes.
TVs were still black and white.
That's horrible. Yeah,
I think it was like 312 megabytes.
Something like, or like 112 or something crazy. But
I just remember if you had like a huge paper, you walked in with like 3 of them. There you go. And you had to turn it in.
Yeah.
Like, so you couldn't make any modifications.
I even remember having the little like plastic cases to put the floppy
My
disks
mom bought
in.
those too.
Yeah, you got to protect
Yeah.
your stuff, man. Last
And
thing
you
you
had
want
to
to do is
bring
spill
it-
your chocolate milk on that thing. You're jacked. You are jacked.
Oh my god! And you had to like read a book to know the style of the paper you had to write in, and you guys have it easy.
Anyway, yeah, Star Wars Underworld, check it out. Johnny didn't get to see the video. Hopefully he sees it and tells us his thoughts one way or the other next go around, next episode. But yeah, definitely cool to see that they got at least that far because it looks good. They've got graphics, they've got everything, sound effects. It looks pretty snazzy. It looks a little cheesy at the same time, but heck, all Star Wars does in one sense or another.
Yep. Final thing, guys. This is like just a funny thing tidbit. We posted it on our social media sites, but you can now purchase a life-size The Child Yoda. Or The Child. You shouldn't call it Yoda. My bad. For $350 pre-order on Sideshow.com. It will be available between August 2020 to October of 2020. It's like pretty interesting to see this. Like I was like life size. Like how big is this thing?
It looks
like
crazy detailed.
It looks crazy detailed, and it is literally life size. So like the child standing on the ground. But I'd go check it out and see what is.
If there's a special someone in your life that really wants a child, green child, $350.
Instead of a dog.
Yep.
You can get them the child. Or, you know what you could also get them if you don't want to get them the child for $350? You can have it on tpublic.com. Balance of the Force got you covered with some wall art, some t-shirts, some cell phone cases.
Boom.
Bang. We also got coffee mugs, pillows, blankets. You name it, we got it. tpublic.com. Search Balance of the Force. Check out all the cool things. Anytime they have a sale, we try to post it for you guys to let you know. We'd appreciate any and all support you have. Also, along the lines, maybe they don't want a t-shirt. Maybe they don't want a bag. Maybe they don't want a pillow. Maybe they want a lightsaber. We got you covered there, too. Head on over to ultrasabers.com, and you can look at any of the lightsabers they have. Put it in your cart. It does not work on clearance sabers or accessories, but when you get to the checkout, enter coupon code ForceFeels, all caps, all one word, and you'll save 10% off from Balance of the Force, a Star Wars podcast. We thank you for tuning in today, and as always, may the Force be with you.
Once more, the Sith